Let's turn now to Politico national reporter Betsy Woodruff-Swan, who has been following the 1-6 committee's work very closely over the past year. Betsy, welcome back to the show. We were supposed to have a hearing on Wednesday. That's been postponed. The next hearing is Thursday. We have 2 hearings done so far. What's been the most explosive stuff you've heard in these hearings? What stood out as new or important to you, a close watcher of this committee?
One thing that I wouldn't necessarily use the word explosive to talk about, but that I think is really deeply important and that only a select committee positioned like this one could say with confidence was the comment, the proclamation, I guess, that Liz Cheney made that Trump didn't call any component of the U.S. government during the January 6th attack on the Capitol to tell them to intervene to try to stop the violence. Proving a negative as a reporter is really, really hard. Proving that a phone call didn't happen, proving that there were no calls, no texts, no emails, no directives handed down through intermediaries. I can't think of a single journalist who would feel comfortable confidently reporting that with total certitude. But when you have a select committee like this that can talk to everyone, that can really flood the zone and get all the phone records, all the documents, most even of the senior White House officials and senior lawyers, and reach that conclusion, that's consequential because it very much speaks to the extent to which the violence happening at the Capitol was not something that Trump treated that day like it was a crisis.
Quick question, Betsy. Do we know why all of the hearings are not being done in prime time? That first hearing got more than 20 million viewers, we're told. Why are most of the rest of them being done at daytime? Is there a reason for that we know?
I don't have inside information about the reason for the timing, but one challenge the Select Committee would have would be that having 8 or 9 or even more hearings during prime time would put a lot of burden on some of these networks, and they would risk that potentially not just Fox News, but other networks might theoretically peel off, might decide that their viewers have an appetite for 2 or 3 primetime hearings, but not necessarily for more than that. That would be a risk that the committee would have taken if they made that big of a demand on primetime networks' schedules.
And the committee itself has been pretty effective, pretty united, but we're hearing behind the scenes and even a little bit publicly now that there is a division specifically on whether a criminal referral should be done for Trump to the DOJ by the committee. Have a listen to Chair Benny Thompson speaking on Monday evening.
You don't anticipate that the committee itself will offer up a formal referral?
No, that's not our job. Our job is to look at the facts and circumstances around January 6th, what caused it, and make recommendations after that.
The panel could recommend that DOJ charge Trump with some sort of crime or crimes related to January 6th. Would the panel do that? No, it's like you're ruling it out right now.
We don't have the authority.
So he says pretty strongly there, it's not our job to do that, to do a referral to the DOJ for Trump's alleged criminality. And yet Liz Cheney, the vice chair, seems to disagree. Elaine Luria, a panel member, a Democrat, seems to disagree. There is a divide in the panel on this.
Right. And this isn't the only issue where there's tension on the panel. One other really significant consequential area of tension is what legislative recommendations to make. We know Congressman Jamie Raskin has pushed for one of the legislative recommendations to be eliminating the Electoral College. That's something that Cheney has been very much opposed to. These fissures are likely to come into clearer view as the committee moves from investigation mode, fact-finding mode, into action mode. It's one thing to collect lots of information and present it. It's another thing to decide, what are we going to ask of members of Congress?
Yes.
What are we going to ask of the Justice Department? Those decisions are tough, and there will be disagreements.
Last quick question. We're out of time, but I've got to ask Betsy. Thursday's hearing is expected to focus on Trump's Prussia campaign on his vice president, Mike Pence. You reported over the weekend on a memo from Pence's top lawyer, Greg Jacob, warning him that the courts would likely not support him if he gave in to Trump's demands not to certify the election on January the 6th. Jacob is listed as a witness for Thursday's hearing. What do you expect to hear from him?
What I'm really interested to hear from him is whether he thought that the Eastman strategy was not only illegal and unconstitutional, but also kind of stupid, because that's the subtext of this memo. Eastman was saying, you're going really far, you're going really hard, you're doing a bunch of crazy stuff. Oh, and by the way, it wouldn't work. I would expect the committee to ask him for more on that topic.
The stupidity to go alongside the criminality and the corruption. What fascinating hearings we're having. Betsy Woodruff-Swan, thank you for your time.